సార్ మ్యూజిక్ వినిపిస్తుందా? ఓకే. సార్ మ్యూజిక్ వినిపిస్తుందా?
వినిపిస్తుంది.
ఓకే.
Sir, we'll join, sir. We'll start the things, sir.
Sure, sir. I'm ready.
వినిపిస్తుంది. ఒకసారి ఆఫ్ చేస్తారా?
నేను ఆఫ్ చేస్తాను సార్ ఆల్రెడీ.
ఇంకా వినిపిస్తుంది.
1 సెకండ్ సార్.
1 సెకండ్. ఐ థింక్ నాకు లేదు నాకు యూట్యూబ్ లో నుంచి వినిపిస్తుంది.
ఓకే.
యా సారీ. ఓకే.
రైట్.
అది మ్యూట్ లో పెట్టేశాను. Good morning, my dear members, students. Welcome to one and all for this workshop on the public speaking. It is the second session, and I request everyone to kindly make use of this thing. And I request all the members to practice the same and ask your family members also to practice the same in your residence also. Thank you, and now over to Satish Garu for continuation of this session. Thank you.
Sir, my last sentence vinipinchaledu. What did you say, sir?
I could not get.
I didn't get the last sentence you said.
No, thing is, make use of involve your family also in this thing, so that everyone will get benefited.
Right. So shall I start, sir?
Yeah, please go ahead, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, friends, so good morning. Welcome back to day 2 of public speaking, Speak with Power, the art and science of public speaking. As usual, 3 things should happen. Quickly type in the chat number 3. If 3 things happen, you must be able to see me, hear my voice clearly. Also, you should be able to see the slide. If all 3 are happening, type 3 in the chat box, please. Okay, very nice. Okay, good. So friends, I'm very happy. Last week when we had this session, a majority of you has sent your homeworks to me. So please type the word clap in the chat, please. A majority of you have sent me the version 1.2, have sent me the homework. Very, very nice. So this kind of commitment, please maintain it all the 20 weeks. And those of you who haven't sent it yet, I strongly recommend you send it today or tomorrow, friends. Please understand, only if you have version 1.0, if you know where you stand in your current skill level, we can start improving from there, right? Good. So friends, let's do a quick recap of what we did last week. We'll continue from there. And I also want to thank one more time the Vijayawada branch of SICASA, SIRC of ICAF SICASA, and the Student Skill Enrichment Board for making us come together to build our skills. So thank you once again, Vijayawada branch and the Student Skills Enrichment Board. So friends, before we start this session, let's do a quick recap. I congratulate all of you for taking the time to build your skill. And 5 rules to quickly sum it up. Please take notes every single week. Take notes colorfully if possible. Revise the notes often. Please actively participate throughout this session. And please maintain consistency. Come for every session. And also keep me posted with any questions you have, any concerns you have, not just in the session, but also throughout the week. Anytime you are having some issues, you have my WhatsApp numbers. You can contact me there. and post me your questions, right? Friends, so chapter 1 we learned last week is the basics. We learned the basics last week. We learned 4 lessons in basics. One second. Okay. Okay. So last week we learned the basics chapter. We talked about four mini lessons. First one, we understood the 4 parts of success. Then we learned about the connecting power. We talked about the 1-degree shift and the nose of the horse. We understood to truly get successful, we need to achieve 4 things in life, and we call it FISH. One is called great family bonding. I stands for, in FISH, F is great family bonding. I is great income. S stands for great skills. And I told you the 5 basic skills you need to possess to be truly called successful. The 5 basic skills are: number 1, powerful communication. Number 2, time management. Number 3, decision making skill. Number 4, the power of goal setting. And number 5, we talked about the learning skill. Right? So 5 basic skills we need to possess if you want to be successful. And last one, H stands for great health, both physical and mental. Everybody wants to get successful, my friends, but only 4% actually get successful. And these 4%, they live a great fish life every day. If you want to have a great fish, if you want to have all these great qualities in you, there's one connecting power, and that's lesson 2. The connecting power is the power of communication. If you want to have a great family life, communication matters. If you want to build your income and grow in life, communication matters. Any area of your life, whether you're a student, an employee, a professional, a businessman, whoever you are, communication is the key. Type yes or no. So that's called the connecting power. So we need to learn, we'll dive deeper. And I also told you, when it comes to communication, there are 3 kinds of communication. The external communication, which is one-to-one, the internal communication you do to yourself, and the art of public speaking. If you truly want to get successful and reach the top 4%, you need to master all 3. You should know how to speak powerfully externally to other people. You should know, more importantly, how to speak to yourself more effectively. And last but not the least, you should know how to go on a stage and to a lot of audience. You should know how to speak with power. That's what we'll be learning all these sessions. And then we talked about the 3rd lesson, the 1-degree shift. May I request all of you to switch off your videos, please? Your videos off, please. Keep your videos off, right? Thank you. Everyone's videos off. OFF. Yeah, keep your videos off. Thank you. Right. So friends, the 3rd lesson we talked last week is the 1-degree shift. We understood that if you draw a 20-degree line and a 21-degree line, though initially the lines look the same, but over a period of time, the gap increases. And that's the power of 1-degree shift. Though they look similar, after 1 year, if you draw for 1 year, both the lines, you end up in 2 different countries, right? Why? Because that's the power of 1-degree shift. Small changes lead to big results. And that's what this whole program is about. We'll be learning every week, step by step, small changes we're going to make to build a public speaking skill. And because I believe that genius is less about genetics and more about habits. So we're going to build small habits that will make us very, very powerful when it comes to communicating to others. We also understand that basically human beings are habit creatures. So if you can start building small habits, small changes, small positive changes, you'll end up getting big results, right? So that's the 3rd lesson, 1-degree shift. Let's move to the last lesson we learned last week, and that's the nose of the horse in the basics, right? What is nose of the horse? We understood that in a horse race, the horse that comes first, if it makes 10 crores, and the horse that comes 3rd makes only 1 crore, that doesn't mean that the first horse ran 10 times more faster than the 3rd horse, right? At the max, it must have run just the nose of the horse faster. That's exactly what top 4% do. Top 4% don't do extraordinary things. Like the quotation goes, they do ordinary things in an extraordinary way, isn't it? So the top 4%, they learn the right strategies and they just do the nose of the horse extra mile effort. And that's how they enjoy all the rewards in life. So that's the basic lesson we understood. So any questions so far? Type yes or no in the basics. Good. So once we're done with the basics, last week we also started learning chapter 2, which is the 4 prerequisites. Right. Last week we also understood the 4 prerequisites. We dived into public speaking skill. So we understood the connecting power is communication. So we understood before even you communicate, either on stage or off stage, whether you do it professionally or personally, before you speak, if you want to speak with power, my friends, there are 4 prerequisites and we call it talk, right? So that's the first lesson we learned last week. And the second lesson we talked about the version 1.0. So let's go with talk. I told you there are 4 prerequisites before even you talk to know. The first one is you need to have clarity, my friend, about the topic. An example, last week we took the example of how to overcome stress. Now that's a topic we took as an example. We all have now clarity as to what the topic we're going to talk about. But that clarity is the first prerequisite. We don't stop there. The second clarity we need to get in TALK, A stands for audience. We talked last week that there are 3 kinds of audience: the ones who are equal, the ones who are above us, and the ones who are below us. We need to again have clarity, my friend, as to on that particular topic, whom am I going to speak to? Are my audience equal, above, or below? You need to have that clarity. The third clarity we need to have is called the leading objective. EALK, L is leading objective. Generally, when we speak, there are 3 objectives why we speak to people. 1, we speak to educate, or 2, we speak to motivate, or 3, we speak to entertain. The main target, the main objectives of public speaking. Either you educate or motivate or entertain. Actually, as I told you last week, we're supposed to use a combination of all the 3, right? To be good speakers, we should use all the 3 combination, but one should be a leading objective. So what is your leading objective? You need to have clarity about that. And last but not the least, the 4th prerequisite we talked about is the key message. EALK, K stands for key message. Before even you start speaking, you have to have clarity as to what is the main message I want to drive home to my audience. That you should be able to draft in a one-liner. You should have clarity on this topic. This is the key message I'm going to drive home. And that one-liner becomes the basis on which you build your content for that speech, right? So once you get this 4 with clarity, only then, my friends, you are eligible to speak with power. Agree, yes or no? Good. We learned it till here last week, and then I gave you a small assignment called version 1.0. I said, create a small video with the topic how to overcome stress and send to my WhatsApp, which many of you did. Thank you so much. So that's what we did on the first day of our session. So now, friends, now that you created your version 1.0, and I repeat again, if anyone's sitting there, if you haven't created your version 1.0, please do it. If you really are serious about building this skill, it's important you know your version 1.0. You should know what your current level of skill is. Then from today onwards, we're going to build the actual skill of public speaking, and you'll create a version 2.0 very soon. You'll realize the difference, right? What you cannot measure, you cannot improve, friends. So please create a version 1.0 if you haven't done so, right? So that finishes the revision of last week. Now let's start today with version 1.0 is done. To create version 2.0, let's learn the actual steps of public speaking. My dear friends, whether you are a beginner in the field of public speaking or whether you already possess a skill of world-class speaking, doesn't matter. Wherever you are in this skill, okay, as a beginner or world-class, wherever you are, if you want to speak with power, there are 4 lessons we need to learn from. There are 4 phases. We call them 4 phases. You need to learn to build this public speaking skill. And that's what is the chapter 3 for us. So take a fresh page and put the heading chapter 3. From today onwards, I'm going to give you some detailed notes. To put the heading chapter 3, 4 major phases. Right. I repeat again, from where you are today to where you want to go, you just have to master, learn and master only 4 phases. My dear friends, if you master these 4 phases, all your life, wherever you speak, you can speak with power. Now, those 4 phases, before we learn what those 4 phases are, it's called the king and the eyes, right? The 4 phases are called, please make note of it, the king and the eyes. I'll explain what it means. The king and the eyes. These 4 phases are called the king and the eyes. Trust me, you mastered the king and the eyes, you will be a great public speaker, right? So before we learn what the king and the eyes mean, I want to ask you a question. I want all of you to think and type your answers in the chat box. If you're ready, type ready. Good. I want everyone to participate, please. The only way we communicate is through the chat. So please actively participate, right? So here's an important question to ask you. Look at the slide. There's this cute couple there driving. A cute couple just recently got married and they are going to a movie, right? So in their city, there's this blockbuster movie in the theaters. Now that was a time when there's no corona, right? So this is blockbuster movie in the theater. It's a movie which is about murder investigation, that kind of movie, right? And this couple loves such movies, right? So it's about murder investigation movie. They're going to the theater. They'll reach in 5 minutes. And that's when the husband, he gets a phone call. His grandparents called him and they said that we will be coming to your city tonight, is what they said. So they'll be arriving that night to visit them, right? So now these people are going for the evening show, by the way. So by the time the movie gets over, if they come back, in the meantime, the grandparents who come will have to wait because the house is locked. So now there are 3 options, friends. So listen now, here's the question now. There are 3 options for the husband and wife to do. Okay, now you got to tell me which option would you prefer them to do. The first option they thought is, we'll go back now and we'll give the keys to the neighbors and we'll come back. But if we do that, they'll miss the first 20 minutes of the movie, right? So they can go give the keys and come back, but they'll miss the first 20 minutes of the movie. They'll miss it. The second option is, maybe they can right now go and start watch the movie, but during the interval, maybe 10-15 minutes before the interval, they can skip that part. They can go give the keys and come back, and by the time the interval gets over, they'll join the movie again. So they will miss some part before the interval, but they can go give the keys to neighbors and come back. Or option 3, they can leave the movie without watching the last 20 minutes. Okay, and they can go so that by the time the grandparents come, they'll be at home. So either they'll miss the beginning, or they'll miss the interval, or they'll miss the climax, okay, the last part. Now, when these ideas came up, the wife said, I mean, when he said, let's miss the first part, they're not happy with that, because, you know, in murder investigation movies, the first 20 minutes is the plot time, right? The plot. So if you miss that, you may not understand the whole thing. Again, when they thought, let's miss the interval, but again, generally what happens, friends, we know that there's something called interval bang, right? So just before the interval, some twist happens, right? So they don't want to miss the interval, because, you know, so the interval bang will be gone. And then again, if they want to miss the last part, now that's too crucial, because that's when they will reveal who the actual murderer is, and all the twists come to an end at the ending, right? So they don't want to miss the ending also, right? So friends, you tell me, in this example, which option do you think is the best option? Missing the starting, missing the interval bang, or missing the climax? Which one? Watch the movie tomorrow. Okay, cancel movie, none of them. Okay, see, Netflix. All right, good. Friends, you know why? Good, thank you for your answers, friends. Do you know why all of you are not able to tell me the same answer? Do you know why all of you are giving me different answers? Why we are all not on the same page? Why? Because we understand, my friends, that all 3 are important, isn't it? Frankly speaking, in this example, all the 3 are important. The starting is important, the interval bang is important, the climax is important. Agree, friends? Yes or no? Friends, I want everyone to be on mute, please. I can hear some cute boy talking at the background. Everyone on mute, please. Everybody on mute, please. Thank you. Right. Isn't it, friends? So do you want to miss the beginning? No. Do you want to miss the intro bang? No. Do you want to miss the climax? No. All three are important. Isn't it, friends? Just type yes if you agree. Just type yes. Exactly, friends. That is same. This is the same fact when it comes to public speaking. Even in public speaking, my friends, the way you start, the way you deliver the core content, and the way you end your speech, all three are equally important. Like the way in the movie, introduction and the intro, bang, and climax are important. The same way, understand, my friends, if you want to effectively speak on the stage, if you want to build your public speaking skill, there are three things that are so crucial, three phases: the way you start, the way you hold the attention of audience, and the way you end the meeting, right? So all three are crucial. So those are three phases. But I told you there are four phases. Remember, chapter 3 is the four phases. To make that impact before your audience, there are four phases I told you. Now what is the fourth phase now? Please make note of it. It's called the king and the ice, right? Remember the chapter is called the king and the ice. Four phases, friends. If you master these four, you are good at public speaking. The first phase is called the king phase. Okay, the king phase is a phase where you, even before you start speaking, that's one phase, friends. Okay, please make a note of it. Why is it called the king phase? We'll discuss later, but please make a note of it. There are four phases you need to master. The first phase is called the king phase. Now, this is a phase which is even before you start speaking, which means you're sitting among the audience and I call you and said, let's welcome Mr. X on the stage, please. And then you get up from your chair, you come on the stage, you take the mic, and you're about to start. You didn't speak yet, right? From that phase, from where you walk, got up to come to stage till the moment you open your mouth, that phase is called the king phase. Why is it called the king phase? We'll talk later, but please make a note of it. This is the first phase you need to master. Even before you speak, what to do. That's important area. Then the second phase, you must have guessed it. Please make a note of it. The second phase is called the introduction. You need to master, as I told you in the movie, the beginning, the intro, bang, the climax are important. The same way in public speaking, ICE means I is the introduction. You should know how to start with the bang, right? You need to master that phase. And then the second one, the third one is core content. C stands for core content. You should know how to deliver the core content and hold the enthusiasm of your audience, because content is the king. We know that. So you should know how to deliver powerfully your content. And that doesn't stop there. You also should know, my friend, the last phase, how to end the session, how to create a great climax. All right? No matter who you are, even if you have no experience in going on the stage and speaking, if you're new to this field of public speaking, doesn't matter. These four phases, if you can master them, if you can know what to do even before you speak, if you can know how to do an introduction with a great, fantastic bang, if you can know how to deliver your content powerfully, holding the enthusiasm of audience, and if you can know how to smoothly conclude the speech by creating a great climax, audience will love you for that. And how and the remaining all these weeks of preparation, this training is to help you to gain mastery over these four phases. If you're clear so far, type number 4 in the chat box. The four phases. Fantastic. So now you understood chapter 3, the four phases. Let's dive one by one. So let's put the next heading. The next chapter is the 4. The king. Friends, if you look at this, there are four phases. The first phase I told you is the king phase. Let's start with it. The heading, chapter 4, the king. This chapter is called Even Before You Speak. Okay, the king. Put the heading, the king And do that write down even before you speak. Now that's the first phase, right? Even before you speak, there's something you got to do. And that's called the king phase. Now, why is it called the king phase? We'll learn in this chapter. In this phase, friends, if you want to master the first phase, even before you speak phase, there are 3 important lessons you need to learn. Make a note of them. The first lesson is called snap judgment. Please make note of it. The lesson 1 you got to master in this phase is the snap judgment. You need to understand something called the snap judgment. Friends, I see some of them haven't muted yourself. Kindly mute, please. Kindly mute yourself. Thank you. The second lesson, friends, is called 2 objectives. The second lesson, okay, you want this material, you mean the PPT, sir? I think this entire video will be uploaded in the YouTube. So I think you can access the whole thing, including the PPT on YouTube. Right, Mehul? Right, so good. So lesson 2, write down, friends, 2 objectives. And the last lesson in this phase you need to master is 4 rules for the king. Please make a note of it. The third lesson is called the 4 rules for the king. Okay. So first lesson is the snap judgment. Second lesson, 2 objectives, and third lesson, 4 rules for the king. So let's start, my friends, with the first lesson, the snap judgment. Take a fresh page, put the heading. Friends, from here on, I'm going to give you some detailed notes because each phase you got to master. So take a fresh page, put the heading, lesson 1, the snap judgment. Put the heading, lesson 1, the snap judgment. Good. Now, what is snap judgment, by the way? Friends, let me ask you a question. Friends, look at the screen. Can you all see the screen, by the way? Can you all see the slide? The audience sitting there. Can you all see the slide where the audience is sitting there? Good. Okay, write down this question, okay? Before I ask you the question, first write down this question, please. Write down this question. Imagine you are among the audience. Please write down this question. Imagine you are among the audience. Imagine you are among the audience. Okay. Now, if a person, now, okay, below that write down, if a person walks on the stage, if a person walks on the stage, everybody look at the slide, please. Like that. Okay. Imagine a person walking on the stage like that. Okay. Right. So imagine you are, thank you. Okay, so here's the question, friends. I can't see. Imagine, friends, that you are among the audience and a person walks on the stage like this. Can you all see the slide? I can't. Okay. Okay, write down. Yeah, if a person walks on the stage like this, below that write down, he is not looking confident. Please write down, he is not looking confident. He has got no smile. He's standing in a corner. He's not looking confident. He's got no smile. He's standing in a corner. And he's got inappropriate body language. He's got no smile and he's got inappropriate body language. Now the question to all of you, my friends, please write down, will you like that person? Everybody should answer. Imagine you are sitting among the audience now, and a speaker was announced to come on the stage. Now that fellow comes on the stage, as shown on the slide. He stands in a corner. He doesn't look confident. He's got no smile and is maintaining inappropriate body language. Will you like that person? Absolutely no, right? Thank you for your answers, friends. Now look at this. Friends, this person who came on the stage has not spoken yet. He hasn't started his speech yet. But even before he started speaking, we all answered here that we don't like that person. You know why, friends? This, my friends, is called the snap judgment. Do you know, my friends, 90% of people, do you know this, that 90% of people, they judge a person even before that person speaks? Do you know that? Please make a note of it. 90% of the people, they judge you in the first 20 seconds, even before you speak. Do you know that? And this is called the 20-second snap judgment of audience. I repeat, when you go on a stage, my friends, even before you start speaking, in the first 20 seconds, 90% people judge you. And this is called the 20-second snap judgment of audience. See, the point is simple. Even if you create a negative impact, then if the snap judgment goes wrong, it is possible that we can reverse the opinion. I'm not saying no. Even if there's a negative snap judgment about you, you can always reverse the opinion. It's possible. It's reversible, but it's a lot of risk. It's a lot of difficulty thing. Agree? It's difficult and risky to make that opinion reversible. Because I like this quotation which says, you don't have a second chance to create the first impression. Agree? You don't get a second chance to create a first impression. Yes or no, friends? So that is why, because the audience judge you in the first 20 seconds, that's why we call this phase, even before you speak, phase is important. So if you want to come on the stage and don't want to have a negative snap judgment about you, what you have to do is what this phase is about. So now that you understood the snap judgment, let's move to the second lesson, 2 objectives. Put the heading, 2 objectives. Now we understood that the snap judgment is what audience do for you. So we don't want to create a negative snap judgment for you. So that is why, let's understand, we have 2 objectives here in this phase called the king phase. Even before you speak, there are 2 objectives we got to have, friends. One is you want your audience, you want to look confident before your audience. Please make note of it. The first objective, note of it. You got to look confident before audience. When your name is called, you come on the stage, say, let's welcome Satish Valiveti on the stage. I come on the stage. My first objective, even before I speak, is I want for the audience to know that I look confident. In the snap judgment, I got to look confident. And the second objective I have is I want my audience to like me. Make audience like you. Please make note of it. So the second objective in this phase is we want to make the audience like us, right? So this is a phase, I repeat, is a phase when you have not started speaking yet. But before you do that, during the snap judgment time, you got to look confident, my friends. You got to make the audience like you. How do you do this? If you want these 2 objectives to be fulfilled, there are 3 things that matter. Just make note of it. There are 3 things that matter, friends. The way you move, the way you stand, and the way you look. Remember this. Even before you speak phase, there are 3 things that matter. When you're called on the stage, the way you move, the way you stand, and the way you look, all these 3 really matter. You know what? By the way, why do you think this phase is called the king phase? You know why? Friends, so let's know what to do even before we speak. Let's learn now what to do even before we speak so that we don't get a negative snap judgment. We make the 2 objectives fulfilled. What to do? First, understand, friends, that do you know that the word speaking has the word king in it, isn't it? The very word speaking has got the word king in it, right? Why is this called the king phase? Because when you go on a stage, do you know this, friends, that when someone calls your name, they say, let's welcome so-and-so person. He's going to talk to us today on so-and-so topic. When someone introduces you, when you come on the stage, do you know, my friends, on the stage, respect happens by default. Do you know that? On stage, respect happens by default because audience, they perceive you like a king. When you come on the stage, by default, respect happens. Let me give you an example. I want you all of you to answer here in the chat, please. Active participation. Now, let's say we invite you, we all sit in the audience, and then the host invites one little fellow. Imagine a 10-year boy. They invite, let's now invite this person on the stage. So little boy comes, 10 years boy. He says, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. All of you put both of your hands up like this. Will you lift your hands? Yes or no, friends? Type your answers. The little boy comes and says, my dear friends, let's start with an activity. Put both your hands like this. And do you agree? Everyone in the audience keeps their hands like this? Yes or no? Majority does, isn't it? The same 10-year boy, if he comes to you when you're just standing somewhere and says, lift your hands, will you do that? Type your answers, please. The same 10-year boy comes to you, you're talking to your friends, he comes and says, lift your both hands like this, will you do that? Obviously, you will not do it unless he's got a gun in his hands, right? Right. Why? Because understand, on stage, respect happens by default. So when you go on the stage, my friends, because audience anyway give you that respect, okay? Of course, unless you spoil it, okay? You get that respect by default. Yeah, thank you for, yeah, that's true, right? The way you respect me, the same way people will respect you because of you on the stage, right? So respect happens by default because the audience, friends, understand, they look at you like a superior. Do you know that? They consider you as a superior on stage unless you spoil it. And that's an underlying line, by the way. You will be considered superior on the stage unless you spoil it. Like the previous slide I showed, the little fellow, that fellow, he comes and stands in a corner and he just looks so, with inappropriate body language. Unless you spoil it like that, otherwise, people, they consider you as superior when you go on the stage. Makes sense so far? Type yes. Correct. So what should we do? So the good news is, speaking has got the king word in it. So they give you respect by default. They consider you superior by default. So when you go on the stage, even before you speak, friends, there are 4 rules you got to follow. If you don't want to lose that respect, if you don't want to lose that superiority feeling, if you don't want audience to give a negative snap judgment to you, even before you speak, there are 4 rules you got to follow. Okay, so please make a note of it. That's lesson 3, by the way, the last lesson in this phase. 4 rules for the king. 4 rules for the king. Please make note of it. So starting today, whenever you go on the stage, whenever, wherever, whatever situation you go on the stage, if you follow these 4 rules, people will create a positive snap judgment about you, and your 2 objectives will be met. Objective 1, to look confident. Objective 2, to make the audience like you. Both the audience will be met if you follow these 4 rules. The 3 things that matter, Sakshi, are 1, the way you move, 2, the way you stand, 3, the way you look. Okay. Good. So friends, what to do even before you speak? 4 rules, 4 simple rules for the king. Please make note of it. Okay. I'll go slowly. Good. So friends, shall we continue? All right. So now our target, we understood how important this phase is. 3 things we don't want to happen. We don't want negative snap judgment. We don't want to lose that respect we get by default. We don't want to lose that superiority look they give to us. We don't want to lose them. Plus, the 2 things we want to happen, 2 objectives. 1, we want to look confident. And 2, we want audience to like us. So if you want all these to happen, 4 rules never to forget in this little phase. The first thing you could make note of it, rule number 1. Number 1, please make note of it, friends. Take the middle of the stage. Feel like a king or a queen. So please write down rule number 1. Take the middle of the stage. Feel like a king or a queen. So that's the first step. When you are invited on the stage, when you say, let's welcome Satish Valiveji on the stage, I got to take the middle of the stage. Go to the middle and feel like a king or a queen. Friends, please understand, you got to look confident even if you're not, okay? Even if it's the first time you're doing it, you're feeling a little down here inside. No, this is a beautiful word called as if. In English, a psychological impact can happen with two little words called as if. Do you know, my friends, from now, the next 10 minutes, if you behave as if you're tired, if you behave as if you're weak, if you behave as if you're sleepy, you're lazy, you're down, you're depressed, you're stressed out, after 10 minutes, you really start feeling so. On the other hand, the next 10 minutes, friends, if you behave as if you're energetic, if you behave as if you have the power, if you behave as if you're unstoppable, if you behave that way, your motion, which means your body movement, your motion decides your emotion. Do you know that? Your motion, your body movement, your motion decides your emotion. Do you know that? So that's the psychological truth. So you got to take the middle of the stage, walk like a king or a queen. Just imagine if you are a real king, how will you walk? I want you to really practice this at home, friends. You have no idea how much of impact it positively creates on the minds of the audience. You go there like a king or a queen and breathe like that, stand like that. Take the middle of the stage, not in the corner, right? So that's the first rule. Take the middle of the stage, feel like a king or a queen. If you're a boy, you're a king, you're a girl, a queen, right? So stand there like a king or a queen, breathe like that, right? So that's rule 1. Rule 2, you'll not stop there. Rule 2, make a note of it. Rule 2, don't be in a hurry, write down. Don't be in a hurry to start, take a pause. Rule 2, friends, please don't be in a hurry to start, take a pause. So when you go to the middle of the stage, right, make a note of it. Don't be in a hurry to start, take a pause. So you go on the stage now, you take the middle of the stage, you stand like a king or queen, right? You feel like a king, nice. Now take a pause. Don't start immediately, right? Okay, we'll talk about the podium later, sir. Yet, yeah, we'll talk about the podium a little later. Actually, we don't want to use the podiums. Okay, we'll talk about it while later, right? So that part we'll discuss later. Let's come back to the 4 rules first. So you take the middle of the stage, you stand like a king or a queen, that's done. Now take a pause. Don't start immediately. Maybe the person who invited you, maybe he's leaving the stage. Let him leave. Let him comfortably go down, right? Maybe maybe the slide behind you need to be adjusted. So maybe you got to take a pause there. Don't start immediately. That's rule 2. Third rule, when you're in that pause, understand 10 to 20 seconds of pause is totally acceptable by audience. You go on the stage, 10-second pause, 15-second pause, totally acceptable by the audience. Okay, so in that pause, what to do? Rule 3, write down. Rule number 3, smile. During the pause, please make a note of it, smile. During the pause, smile. Friends, everyone, I can't see you, but just smile once. Everyone, please smile once. If you do that before a mirror, you know how beautiful you look. Smile, friends. I like this word, that smile is a curve that straightens many things, right? Remember, smile is a certificate of confidence. I repeat, smile is a certificate of confidence. Please make a note of it. Smile is a certificate of confidence. Do you know the stress enzyme is cortisol? When most people get fear when they go on the stage, and that public speaking fear, and that enzyme called cortisol releases in your brain when you're fearful. And smile is the antidote for it. When you really smile, it's imagined like this. Okay, imagine driving a car and this big windshield in front of you, and then there's a lot of fog on the mirror. Okay, imagine the windshield full of fog. Can you see the road? Yes or no? Right. So you can't, right? So when you can't see the road, what do? You use a wiper, and then you can see the road clearly again. So the way the fog is wiped off by the wiper, the same way your smile can wipe off the fear, my friends. Do you know that? So what do you do in the pause? You just take a pause, right? And just smile. Just give a real hearty smile. I like this quotation. I want everyone to make note of this quotation. Very important. Write down. If you are a speaker, please make note of it. If you are a speaker and if you go on the stage, please write down. If you are a speaker and if you go on the stage without wearing a smile. I repeat, if you are a speaker and if you go on the stage without wearing a smile, you're not fully dressed. If you are a speaker and if you go on the stage without wearing a smile, you're not fully dressed. It's that important, right? So you go like a king or a queen, take the middle of the stage, and then you take a pause, and just during this pause, you smile, right? I repeat, if you are a speaker and if you go on the stage without wearing a smile, you're not fully dressed. Without wearing a smile, you're not fully dressed. It's that important. Okay, good. So now you know what to do in this phase. Rule 1, go take the middle of the stage, stand like a king or a queen. Rule 2, take a pause. And during the pause, rule 3, smile. And the last rule, friends, please write down. Last rule, while you smile, scan. Please write down. Fourth rule, while you smile, scan. Rule number 4, while you smile, scan. What do you mean scan? Look to the left, look to the center, look to the right. Look at your audience. As you smile, just look at all the audience. Don't just look at all the naughty boys in this session. Don't just look at the beautiful girls in the audience. Look at everyone, right? So scan. Look to the left, look at the audience as you smile, look to the center, look to the right. So this is what we do. And believe me, friends, it may sound foolish and funny and silly, but I want you to practice this. I want you to imagine that you are at your home whenever you get time this entire week. I want you to practice this king phase, the phase even before you speak. I'll tell you how you practice it. Okay, you take a mic and say, suppose let's say your name is Rahul. Okay, let's say your name is Akshay. I see Akshay Jain here. So let's say your name is Akshay Jain. You'll say, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Akshay Jain, is what you will say. And you'll go out and again you come in as if you're coming on the stage. Got it? So pretend you're the host, call your own name, and then invite yourself on the stage. Right? So you'll say, let's welcome Akshay Jain on the stage, please. And then you go out and you come now as Akshay Jain. You come and stand take the middle of the room, stand like a king or a queen. Okay, feel that. Okay, and then take a pause and start smiling and not laughing, not giggling. Okay, smile and just look at the people out there in your imaginative audience. You know, one more great way you can do it is if you have these soft toys at home, teddy bears or any toys that have eyes. That really works. You know, if you have soft toys or teddy bears at home with eyes, okay, any toys like that, you can place them randomly there. You can look at those eyes. Sounds simple, sounds silly, but it works. You know, friends, the biggest mistake people do in public speaking is they don't practice. Suppose imagine that you go to a swimming class. Okay, you go to a swimming class and your first day your coach says, just practice moving this hand in the water. Just keep tapping the water with this hand. You know what you'll do? You will do it, isn't it? If the coach says the next day, practice tapping this hand, such a small act, but if he says practice it the whole day, you will do it, right? Why? Because you know that each of that will add up to your final swimming classes that will build your skill of swimming. The same is true, my friends, in public speaking. These things look simple, and actually when you do this, when you practice this king phase at home, if someone looks from outside, they may think you've gone crazy. It doesn't matter, right? So close the door maybe, but make sure you practice the king phase. So among the 4 phases, king and ice, remember, king, introduction, core, ending. That is all we need to master. And among these 4, this is the smallest phase. It lasts a few seconds. You come on the stage and then you start speaking. But before you start speaking is a small phase, but a phase that need to be practiced. So to quickly to sum it up, 4 things we got to do. 1, come and take the middle of the stage, feel like a king or a queen. 2, take a pause. 3, during the pause, smile. And while you smile, scan the audience. We can do it with soft toys at home. Does it make sense so far? Type a big yes in the chat box, please. Good, friends. So this is the first phase, and then you start speaking, right? Thank you for your answers. And then, friends, you know what? And then you start speaking, right? The first phase is done. Even before you speak, then you start speaking. But I'll tell you what happens when you do these 4 simple rules: king or queen, pause, smile, scan. When you do this, you know what the audience will feel? The audience will not feel like that slide fellow who just stood in the corner, who's like so frightened, nervous. They don't look at you like that. You know what they feel? The audience will feel this person, he looks calm, he looks confident, he looks relaxed, and audience will start liking you even before you start speaking. So 2 objectives are met, right? When you do these small 4 simple steps, the audience will feel that you're calm, you're composed, you're relaxed, you're confident. So remember, the first objective is to look confident. That happened, and the audience will start liking you even before you start speaking. So the second objective is met. And that, my friends, finishes the first phase, the king phase. Yes, if you can record a video of this activity and send it to me, fantastic. Please do it. Friends, the more serious you are, the more committed you are, the faster you can build this skill. Yes. Okay, friends, now please make sure that you send me as much of practice material as possible. See, you practice a lot of times and then maybe take a video and send to me. That is the only way I can check your homeworks. So please be consistent in doing your homeworks. So by the way, that finishes the first phase, the king phase, even before you speak. Any questions you can shoot. Any questions, friends? You can just chat. Can we have practice sessions at the end of the classes? Thought so. Actually, friends, you know, when we do public speaking classes online, generally we expect audience to come live like this, like in the video, and we want them to perform, right? So even we'll be doing it, right? Maybe in the next 1-2 weeks, maybe. But the only concern is we have approximately 84 participants right now, so we can't let everyone to come and speak. That will consume the whole day. But we'll randomly pick up some students who are interested to come and speak, and so that when they speak, everybody can watch it. And also, if they do something good, I correct and I appreciate them. Everybody learns from it. If they do something wrong and I correct it, everybody can learn from that, right? So starting next week, the last half an hour we'll devote it, maybe or somewhere in between we'll devote it a time per half an hour slot where you people can, 4 or 5 students can opt to speak like the way I'm speaking right now before the video. Okay with all of you? Say yes. Right, super. We'll do it starting next week, sir. We haven't learned much yet. We're still in the initial phase. So as we learn a few more concepts, we'll just do that. Right. So that finishes chapter 4, by the way. Let's go to chapter 5 now. Can anybody guess what chapter 5 is? Okay, very good. Fantastic. Okay, so that's introduction. Good. So let's go to chapter 5 now. So this is the previous slide, sir. We understood there are 4 phases to master public speaking. Phase 1 is the king phase, even before you speak phase, which we've done successfully. Now let's get into the introduction phase. Okay. No, Kishan, chapter 3 is understanding the 4 phases. Chapter 4 is the king. Okay, chapter 4 is the king phase. Now chapter 5 we'll go to introduction. Okay, good. The previous slide, which one, sir? Which one, Akhil? Which previous slide you're talking about? 1 second. You want the previous slide, sir? One second, Akhil. This is chapter 4, the king. Okay. So the snap judgment, we understood. At 20 seconds, people will judge you. Then we understood 2 objectives to be fulfilled. And then we understood 3 things matter. And we understood 4 rules for king. Take the middle, take a pause, smile, scan. Akhil, I'm talking about this slide. Once you finish your phase of even before you start speaking, then you will start speaking actually. So that finishes the phase. Okay, rule 3 of the king is smile. During the pause, you smile. Okay, good. Okay. Okay, friends, so let's go to the next chapter. Okay. One second, please. Yeah. So friends, let's continue, shall we? So out of the 4 phases we need to master, good news, we have already understood the first phase, which is the king phase. All right. So now let's move on to the second phase, introduction. Friends, before we go to introduction, you need to understand a few things here. Please make a note of it. Right, ICE vertically. Okay. Right, ICE vertically, intro, core, and ending. Right. Right, ICE vertically. I want to remember this, my friends. Once you start speaking, when you do the introduction, okay, I want you to always remember that you got to do with a fantastic bang. Make a note of it. I want you to always do introduction with a fantastic bang. Below that, write down, if you don't do it, audience do not get connected. I repeat, I always want you to start your speech with a fantastic bang. If not, you know what happens, friends, the audience will not get connected. There is one important sentence I'm going to make. I'm going to say a very profound statement now. I want all of you to take sketch pens and write in bold, write it very, very important. It's an important sentence. Please write down public speaking. Please make note of it. Put a star mark, underline, do whatever. This is the most important sentence about public speaking. Please write down public speaking is not about perfection. Please write down public speaking is not about perfection. Below that, write down public speaking is about connection. I repeat, public speaking is not about perfection, it's about connection, friends. I want to remember this for a lifetime. When you go on the stage, we are not expecting you to be perfect. That's where most students or most professionals worry. They want to look perfect. They don't want to make any mistakes. Not going to happen. Public speaking is not about perfection. It's about connection, friends. If you look at world-class speakers, look at Les Brown, Anthony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, Earl Nightingale, Patricia Fripp, Jim Rohn, Brian Tracy, Nick Vujicic, Robin Sharma. You look at any top-class speaker, there are occasions when they stutter. There are occasions when they go blank for a few seconds. There are occasions when they say the wrong sentence. All that happen even for the world-class speakers. But you know why they're world-class? Is because it's not about perfection. It's about connection. And that connection, you cannot build it at the ending of the session. You got to do it right from the beginning. So that is why when you do introduction, friends, you got to start with such a fantastic bang so that the audience will get connected to you, right? So now how to do that, we'll discuss, okay? That this phase, introduction, I'll teach you step by step how to create that fantastic bang so that your audience, so that audience get connected to you. We'll learn about that, but that's the first phase. Now write down C stands for core content. Now how should that be? Please write down core content. See core content, write down hold the enthusiasm. Please write down. For C is core content, write down hold the enthusiasm. Yeah, even Sandeep Maheshwari definitely is a great speaker. Yeah, the ones I'm speaking about, they are mostly they're not Indians. Maybe that's why you haven't heard about them. Anyway, so the second one, friends, when you deal with the core content, you got to hold the enthusiasm. Remember, we made a fantastic bang just now with introduction. We made a fantastic bang and we got them connected. Now, this connection, we should not lose it. The audience should not get disconnected while doing the core content. So you should know how to hold the enthusiasm. So the second, that phase, core content phase, we'll learn how to hold the enthusiasm so that they don't get disconnected from us, right? So that's in C, in core content. Last one, E, ending, write down ending, a great climax. You got to end with a great climax. Please write down. Yeah, Brian Tracy, yes, great speaker, great writer too. Okay, so great climax. That's how you end it, friends. You know, there's an important sentence that says, audience don't remember what you said. They remember how you made them feel. I repeat, audience don't remember what you say. They remember how you made them feel. And if you don't make them feel good at the end of your session, when they walk out, they will not have a good feeling about the whole session. So your ending should be such a great climax so that you'll be able to reach the hearts of your audience, right? So the last phase, if you can end it with a great climax, you can touch the hearts of your audience and you can make them feel wow, so that when they walk out of your session, they remember the lesson and they remember you for a lifetime. So this is how we're going to do it. So in the first phase, we're going to do this fantastic bang introduction. We'll learn how to do that. Second phase, we'll learn how to hold the enthusiasm of the audience. We'll also learn in the last phase how to create a great climax and end our public speaking session. Clear so far? Type clear. Good. Very nice. So let's start with introduction. Question to all the students. Friends, when you watch movies, right? I'm sure some of you have your favorite heroes here, maybe. So when you watch a movie, friends, you tell me, what do you think? Do you think the hero introduction is just done whichever way it is done, or do you think it is carefully planned to create a bang effect on the audience? Type your answer. I repeat my question. What do you think, friends, when a movie happens, the hero introduction, do you think it's just done whichever way it is done, or do you think it's very carefully planned so to create a great impact on the minds of the audience? Which way? Isn't it? We don't expect Amitabh Bachchan or we don't expect Mahesh Babu to come with a spoiled cycle and they're keeping the chain of it with their hands mud, then they don't come on the stage, right? So we don't expect such things, right? Mostly, in most of the movies, do you agree, friends, there's always a plan how the hero comes, isn't it? Why do you think so? The heroic entrance is important, right? When you start your introduction, that heroic introduction is important. So it got to be planned, right? Yes. Let's, for example, let's look at a 30-second video. 30 seconds.
Bringing up the heat now. Get ready for the show.
All right. So friends, so that, look at it, like it's just a 30-second video, but look at the kind of effort they have put to showcase the hero as a hero, right? The background music. By the way, did you all see the video? Type yes. Did you see the video? Okay. Okay, good. Right. So look at it. It's just the hero walking, but there's a lot of effort that went into for the picturization or the music at the background. The whole effort was made. I'll tell you why. Because introduction, friends, has always got its importance. The same way, my dear friends, when you go on the stage, when you start speaking, the introduction phase, you know what to do before you speak. That you know now, the king phase. But when you start speaking, remember that you are the hero, right? But imagine that you are the hero of your movie. That speech for that day, when you start your speech, just imagine that you are the hero. So you should know how to create the bang. Now, we don't need background music. We don't need all this picturization and horses there. But you should know, my friends, how you can start your speech so that you get that fantastic bang for the audience. The audience get connected to you. And in this chapter, introduction chapter, I'm going to show you 12 fantastic ways, not just one method. Now, these 12 effective ways are straight taken from the world-class speakers. That's the good news. After researching thousands of world-class speakers as to how they became world-class, how they hold the audience, how they create that connection, by doing a lot of research on the world's best speakers, they came up with, the good news is the answers are found. A lot of research went on these top speakers, and they found that basically there are 12 common ways. There are 12 effective ways how, if you start your presentation, you can get connected to them. So these 12 methods will be like a menu card to you. I'm going to give you all the 12. You can pick up the ones you like, right? Which one to use? Completely up to you. The one that you feel that suits your style, the one that you feel suits the occasion, that suits the audience and suits your topic. So based on that, you can pick up any one among these 12, and all 12 work like magic. So you can handpick the one you like, right? So before we dive into those 12 things, there are 3 lessons we need to learn in this chapter called introduction phase. There are 3 lessons we need to learn. Please make a note of it. Lesson 1, we first need to learn about 2 objectives. Remember, friends, in the king phase, we had 2 objectives. What are they? Quickly type, please. In the king phase, remember the king phase, even before you speak, in the king phase, we had 2 objectives, right? Type them in the chat. Very good. 1, we want to look confident. Correct. Very good. What is the second objective we had there? Very good. And we want the audience to like us, right? Good. So even before we speak, we want to look confident and make audience like us. Very nice. Thank you for your wonderful answers. The same way, friends, when we go to the introduction phase now, the second phase, introduction phase, we again have 2 objectives here in the introduction. By the end of this phase, you'll learn how to achieve those objectives, by the way. The second lesson, please write down, learn to unlearn. The second lesson, learn to unlearn. Remember, I told you I'll be teaching you 12 great methods of starting your presentation. But before we learn these 12 fantastic ways, we first have to unlearn a few things which we should not be doing. When we go to some seminars, when we see some speakers speaking, with all due respect to them, but do you agree, friends, that out of 10 seminars we attend, 6 to 7 are boring? Type yes or no. Out of every 10 seminars we attend, with all due respect to the speakers out there, but the truth is, statistically speaking, out of every 10, 6 to 7 seminars, we find them boring. You know why? because they follow a few strategies which we are not supposed to. It's like learning from them what not to do, isn't it? So a few things most of the speakers do while doing the introduction phase, they do a few things, but a few things should not be done, right? Correct. So we'll learn to unlearn what should not be done first. Then in lesson 3, we learn the dozen great ways to start. Remember 12 things I told you? So please make a note of it. Lesson 1, we'll learn 2 objectives. Lesson 2, we'll learn to unlearn a few practices which should not be done because they're not very effective. And lesson 3, we'll learn a dozen great ways to start powerfully. Yeah. Done writing, type done. Super. Good. As someone mentioned previously in the chat, friends, as the slide comes in, please make a note of it so that, we'll save our time. So let's start with the first lesson, 2 objectives. Put the heading, lesson 1, 2 objectives. Friends, as you rightly mentioned, in the king phase, even before you speak phase, we have 2 objectives, 1 to look confident and 2 to make audience like us. The same way, when we do the introduction phase, we have 2 objectives. Please make note of it. The first objective is grab the attention. The first objective of our introduction is grab the attention, friends. You come on the stage, you start speaking, and audience are busy doing something or the other. No, that's not how you start. Maybe the audience are busy talking to themselves, they're busy on the cell phones, they're talking to someone, and then you come and you keep talking, No, that's not how you start. That's called a weak starting. So you got to grab the attention. The first objective is you should know how to grab the attention of the audience. We'll learn strategies to do that. The second objective is you should learn how to take the audience from A to B. Please make note of it. You should know how to take the audience from A to B. So these 2 are the objectives of our introduction phase. So by the time introduction is done, your introduction part of the speech is done, you should 1, grab the attention of the audience, and 2, you should take the audience from A to B. Now, what do I mean by taking from A to B? Which means by the time you finish your introduction part, before you get into the core content, the audience should know, okay, if I listen to this person, I learned this today. So they should know where they are and where they can be by listening to you. They should have that clarity before even you get into the core content. For example, if I say, my dear friends, today we're going to talk about how to clear CA examinations this November with 3 simple strategies. Now you get clarity. That's okay, fine. So now if I listen to him, I'll understand 3 steps how to clear my CA exam. So I took you from A to B. Example, right? You got it? If you got it, type yes. No. Okay, nice. Okay, I'll explain again. Once you grab their attention, I'll teach you how to grab their attention. You should not just leave there. Once you grab their attention, you should also tell them that by the end of this session, this is what you'll be able to learn from me. So you got to take them from A to B. A is where they are today, and B is where they can be if they listen to your speech and if they follow it. Right? So when the audience get this clarity, friends, by the end of this introduction speech, you hook them. You know why? Because psychologically, correct, with the couple story, you're right, right? So see, basically the audience have one psychological question ringing in their mind. Whenever you go to any seminar, even you have that question. All the audience have one common question in their mind. The question is, what's in it for me? Right? What's in it for me? So that's the question we always look at. When we do something, we always ask ourselves, what's in it for me? Why should I do this? What's in it for me? So if the speaker in the introduction itself, he grabs your attention and he tells you, boss, this is what you will gain from me, the audience gets connected. Agree, yes or no, friends? So that's what we're going to do in the introduction. Right? So that's how your introduction should be planned. But before we learn those 12 great ways of doing it, let's look at some of the things that we should not be doing. So please write down lesson number 2, learn, unlearn. Please put the heading. We understood the 2 objectives now. One objective is to make sure that we grab their attention. Second objective is take them from A to B. correct? So that's about the objectives. Now let's look at what need to be unlearned before we learn things. So put the heading lesson 2, learn to unlearn. Today I'm going to show you 7 methods, friends. I'm going to show you 7 ways. You might have seen some speakers starting. Nothing wrong, but not a great start. Okay. If you have seen someone doing this 7, it's not that they're doing some mistake. It's not that they're doing blunders. Not blunders actually. But why you should avoid these 7 things, I'll tell you why. Because these 7 will not make us meet our objectives. That's the problem. If you follow any of these 7, it's nice. It's always nice. But remember, the objective is to grab the attention. That doesn't happen properly. Remember to take them from A to B when that doesn't happen appropriately. That is why try to avoid these 7. Please make note of them. The first one, my name is. Please make note of it. The first way I don't want you to start is by saying my name is. Let me explain, friends. Let me explain. Imagine a situation where you are called on the stage. Example, your name is Radha. Okay. And I said, let's welcome Miss Radha on the stage now, and she's going to deliver to us a topic on how to overcome stress. So put your hands together and let's welcome Miss Radha on the stage, please. And I say that, and I give you the mic, right? And then you come again and say, good morning, friends. My name is Radha, and today I'm going to talk about how to overcome stress. Nothing wrong. Absolutely nothing wrong. But that's called a weak start. W-E-A-K. It's a weak start. I'll tell you why. Because the audience will feel, yeah, I know it. I know your name. That fellow, he just told your name. And we know your topic. We can see it on the slide behind you. We can see your name also there. And we also know that this is topic, that's why we came here. We got a reminder on the phone that that's the topic. We know that speaker is Miss Radha. And we also have seen the banner out at the gate there. So we know it is what the audience will feel. So it's going to, nothing wrong again, I tell you, but it's going to be a very weak start. When you're going to start with a fantastic bang, this is not how we start. If you understood, friends, type yes. Isn't it? See, the point is, you can always say it, okay? If people don't know you, then yes, maybe if nobody introduced you and you came all of a sudden, then you can say, hi, this is Miss Radha, and today I'm going to talk about this. That makes sense when the audience are unaware. But in most cases, okay, Swapnajit Das, how to start? Please wait. There are 12 great ways I'm going to talk about. Okay, right. So how to start we'll discuss, but let's see what we should not be doing. If the audience don't know you, if they don't know the topic, then definitely you can start saying your name and your topic. But maximum cases, what happens is, even before we come on the stage, people know your name. Someone will call you with your name. Someone will introduce you, maybe. Someone will tell a topic. The slide may be showing it. In such scenarios, friends, please don't start with that. That's going to be a very weak start. We shouldn't be giving introduction of what we're going to talk about. That's what I'm saying. We'll come into that, okay? But right now, this is not how we start. We can always talk about what we're going to do. See, you can say them that I'm going to do this for you and take them from A to B. That is fine, Tushar. You can always say, in this session, we're going to learn about this. That's fantastic. But you will not say, yeah, thank you. But you will not say the same thing which the audience already know. I repeat one more time. If the person who introduced you, already mentioned your name, mentioned your topic, and the audience are aware of it, then again you start the traditional way saying, my name is so-and-so, my topic is so-and-so. Nothing wrong, but that's going to be a weak start. Agree, friends? Type agree. Good. So avoid it. Okay, good. So let's go to the second way you got to avoid things. The second thing you should not be doing, friends, please make a note of it. Insisting response. This is one common way I see many speakers start, with all due respect to them. But again, this is not going to be a great start to reach our objectives. Please make a note of it. It's called insisting response. You know what insisting response means? Insisting response means you go on the stage and say, good morning, good morning, good morning. Did you ever see some speakers doing it, friends? Nothing wrong, but again, that's more like slapping and say, better look at me. It's like you're connecting them forcefully, isn't it? So right, we don't do that. Yeah. So we don't say, we don't make them. So first time you say good morning, some people don't respond. Second time you shout, some people, the third time you shout louder, and all of them are forced to respond to you. You're insisting response from them. Yeah. So that insisting response is again not a great way to get connected, because you're literally forcing your audience to do things. Okay. So try to avoid that. So repeat point 2, very simple. I see some speakers saying good morning, good morning, good morning, and they keep repeating good morning until they say everybody shouting. And you know what's more horrible? Yeah, is it not a way to grab attention? It is a way to grab attention, Kishan, but that's a forceful grabbing attention. A forceful way. There are much subtle ways of doing it. There are much polite ways of doing it. We'll discuss, right? So yes, definitely grabbing attention, yes, but that's a little too harsh, is how the audience will look at it. Okay, because some may not be happy repeating it so many times among the audience. Okay, good. Right, so try avoiding this. So one, don't avoid. I mean, first one you got to avoid is my name is, when they already know it. Second thing, don't insist response from audience. Okay, don't start it that way. The third one, please write down, self-degrading. Self-degrading. Another major mistake many students and speakers and professionals even do when they go on the stage. They start self-degrading. They say, good morning, friends. I'm not as much experienced as you people are. I know you people are more knowledgeable than me. I just want to share this topic, but I know some of you know better than me. No, don't do all that. See, if you're really not worth, they will find out. Yeah, the audience will find out anyways. But you don't have to start degrading yourself, because the audience, you're literally insulting the audience. You're telling that, my dear audience, I don't know much. I'm just wasting your time, is what you're telling them, isn't it? You're telling, I'm not worth a person speaking to you. You're just sitting there and watching a not worthy person, which means you're wasting your time. I'm wasting your time, is what you're saying without saying it. Right? So don't start degrading. You know, some speakers think that by doing so, they're more humble, is what they feel. But that way you're telling that you're not professional. You're telling that you are not prepared, or you are not worth listening to. Why do you want to ground yourself? Because any audience don't want to waste time. They want to look at someone, learn something from you, and that's why they sat there. So please don't self-degrade. Agree, friends? Type agree. Good. So one, don't start with my name is. Two, don't insist response from them. And three, please don't self-degrade. Right? And the fourth mistake some speakers do, please don't do it. The fourth one, please write down. It's the exact opposite. Trumpet blower. We call him the trumpet blower. This is the exact opposite of the previous one. This fellow, he's like, I know everything kind of a guy. Some nice song at the background. Please mute, please. Okay. Right. Yeah. So this fellow is like more like, good morning, friends. It's a honor. It's a privilege for you to have me here today. I'm quite a busy person. I travel across the world. I trained these many people. I did all that. Even presidents shake hand with me. We had selfies with presidents, and I don't get easily available to people, but it's your fortune today that I am available to you. And let me tell you, they are paying me this much of money to bring me here. So you better pay attention to me. Example. I've seen some speakers do it. Sir? Yeah, overconfidence, kind of, yes. Srinivas sir, you want to say something? Okay, so friends, don't blow your trumpet. Okay, so that is not even how you start. That will again make the audience feel that we better not listen to him. He's too egoistic, is how the audience look at you, right? Even if you have good stuff in you, even if you have some worthy content to deliver, you will not spoil your impression in the introduction. Okay, so avoid the fourth one, trumpet blowing. Let's go to the fifth strategy, which you should be avoiding. Please make a note of it. Apologize. Please write down. Never start your speech with an apology. Don't start with sorries, my friends. Okay, because that will make you look unprofessional. You not start saying hello, good morning. I mean, today we'll sorry. Today my topic is oh, sorry friends, I'll so no, that hesitation, that sorry is something which will make you look unprofessional. You say a sentence and you say sorry, this is not I should say, this is what I should say. You're actually pointing out your own mistakes. Maybe half the audience did not really keenly observe the mistake you did. But when you say sorry, you're pulling all their attention to the mistake you did. Agree? So don't start with sorry. You switch on the slide, and then the slide does, and the slide by mistake moves to the next one. You immediately bring it back and you say, sorry, I didn't intend to show. Don't say that. You made a small mistake. That's okay. You move on and you focus on the content and the quality of the delivery. You don't keep saying a lot of sorries, at least not in the initial phase, okay? Because that will make you look hesitant, that will make you look unprofessional, and the audience will disconnect from you. I repeat, public speaking is about connection. It's not about perfection. And so it's not about perfection. So it's okay, you make some mistakes, but connection is what matters. Agree? So friends, make sure you don't start your speeches, no sorries and apologies in the introduction, please. Yeah. Understood so far? Type yes, please. So 5 things. 1, my name is, don't do that if the audience already know it. 2, don't insist response. 3, please make sure that you are okay. Any questions? Okay, fine. Friends, 1, please make sure you say my name is, don't do that. 2, don't insist the response. 3, don't self-degrade. 4, don't blow the trumpet. And 5, don't apologize. Let's go to number 6. The sixth one that you need to avoid, take note of it. It's called keeping the phone on. Sounds silly, simple, but I see some speakers doing it. Keeping the phone on. Okay. When you go on the stage, you need to double check that it's in vibration mode or switched off or in silent mode. Don't let the phone ring, at least not when you're about to introduce the topic. Okay, when you're able to create the fantastic bang and your phone rings and it distracts the whole attention, distracts the flow. We don't want to do that. And what's more horrible? I see some speakers lifting the call and speaking, not realizing that everything they're speaking is on the mic. So that makes you look all the more unprofessional. Right? Yeah, seriously, it looks so funny, right? And especially if he starts screaming at his wife on the stage with the mic on. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so keep the phone on is one more thing you need to stop doing. The last one, friends, number 7. The last one you got to avoid is excuses. Please don't start your speech with excuses. Right? I see many speakers do this, and that again creates a very false impression about your capabilities. So please don't start with excuses. Some people say, actually, friends, I thought of coming early today here, but the traffic in the city, how it is, or they look at the slide and say, actually, I did not make this slide. My son did it, so I'm not sure if some spelling mistakes are. Excuse me for that. Or I actually worked all night and make this PPT, so I didn't have time to sleep properly. So excuse me if I may. So don't do that. You will not give excuses. Audience expect you to come and deliver a great speech and help them to elevate them to the next level of knowledge. That's what the audience are looking in for you. They're looking for some excuses there. They don't want that. Okay, good question. What's the difference between apology and excuse? Apology is you saying a sentence and then correcting it by yourself by saying a sorry. Okay. Apology, I repeat, is again like you say one sentence, you say something, and then you realize you said something wrong. Okay. And then you say sorry, and then you reframe the sentence again. It's more about, so apology is more about constructing the sentences. Excuses in general, it's like maybe you came late, or maybe the PPT is not working fine, or maybe you haven't prepared properly. Friends, actually the last 1 week I'm so busy, I couldn't get time to prepare properly for today's session, so please bear with me. That's excuse. Okay. See, today I can't come and say last Sunday we had a session, this Sunday we have a session, and I know it, and I know what I'm going to teach you, right? I can't come and say, friends, I'm extremely sorry, last 1 week I'm excuse me for not getting time to prepare. I have other appointments to handle, so today I'm not able to deliver the content properly. All those are excuses. Okay. If a speaker silences his mobile before speaking in front of the audience, and this gesture will show gentleness. Actually, you see, the point is, I have this habit of always switching it off or putting in silent mode even before I get on the stage. Okay. Even before I go on the stage, I'll ensure that my phone is switched off or in silent mode. In case I forget, I always have this opening slide. Okay. After the welcome slide, I always put one more slide saying, please switch off your mobile. Okay. That's actually not a reminder for the audience. It's for me. In case I forget, I don't want to make this mistake of the phone ringing in between. So I always have one slide. Okay. That slide says, please switch off your mobiles. And that's not just for the audience, for me. So in case you forget, yes, it's always nice. You can mute it in front of the audience to show that even I switched off my mobile. Yeah. Right. Any other questions? So let's do a quick recap. 7 things not to do. What's the first one? My name is, right? Don't start like that. Second one, don't insist to respond. Get a response, it's always nice, but don't insist by forcing them to do things. The third thing, don't self-degrade yourself and let them feel you're unprofessional. Number 4, please don't blow your trumpet and make them feel that you have ego. Number 5, don't apologize if you make a mistake in a sentence. That's totally okay. 6, keep your phone on is a mistake. Please keep it in silent mode. Number 7, please avoid excuses during the introduction phase. And all these 7 will put together as a mistake, right? Though they are not technically mistakes, we look at it as a mistake if you want to speak with power. So friends, M is my name, I is insist, S is self-degrading, T is trumpet, A is apologize, K is keep the phone on, and E is excuses. So together, we look at these 7 as a mistake we will need to avoid. Make sense? Type yes. Good. Nayan Gupta, I didn't understand your question. Can you please repeat it? Can someone unmute Nayan Gupta, please? Or you can chat it here, Nayan.
Yes, sir. I am saying that instead of these mistake, what we can use instead of these, like as you said, firstly, we should not start with our name.
Correct.
So, what we can start with
Oh, what to
initially?
do? Okay, okay,
Yes, sir.
nice.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
Nayan. Yeah, I'm going to teach you 12 methods, boss. The
Yes,
next lesson, okay, we're in the second lesson called Learn to Unlearn. We're unlearning a few things. In the last lesson, Nayan, we'll be talking about 12 great ways of starting. There you'll understand. I'll not teach you just one method, I'll teach you 12 methods, by the way.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, sir.
Right. So that's the next lesson, by the way. Okay, good. So friends, by the way, if you follow these 7, I repeat, it's not a blunder. If you're starting this way, it's okay, friends. But I tell you why you should avoid these 7, because the main idea is if you follow these 7, friends, these 7 will not make us reach our 2 objectives. Remember objectives of grabbing attention and taking from A to B. These 2 objectives of attention grabbing and taking from the A to B will not be effectively done if you follow any of these 7. That's why we call these 7 as a weak starting methods. Okay, so avoid these 7. And now what to do then? The much awaited lesson, what to do. There are 12 12 great ways to start. So put the heading, lesson 3. Now that we understood what not to be done, now let's see how we can do it. Ready? A dozen great ways to start. Put the heading, lesson number 3, a dozen great ways to start. Once you're done, type done. Okay. Yeah, we'll talk. Okay, good. So friends, a dozen great ways to start. I'm going to give you 12 great methods. I will give you detailed notes about each method. What you'll do is whenever you are going to speak in the future in public, before public, whenever you go on the stage, I want you to look at your topic and think of all these 12 methods and try to pick up that best suits for that topic. Okay. I repeat again, friends, out of this 12, any one you pick up is fantastic. All the 12 work like magic. But you can always pick up the one you are most comfortable and the one that suits best to the topic that you have in hand, right? So, yeah. Let's start with the first one, involve. Please make note of it. Everyone, take a sketch pen and make note of it. The first one is called involve. Involve. World-class speakers, when they come on the stage, the first thing they do is they involve their audience. Let me give you some examples. You know, I've seen some speakers, like they go on the stage and they say, everybody stand up. Or they say, keep your hand on your heart. And everybody say, no, I want you to do this. Okay, everyone, please do this. Keep your hand on your heart. Everyone, please, I can't see you, please do it. And say, I will be a great public speaker. Please say it. I will be a great public speaker. Now, that's one way they start. They involve them. Or they'll say, okay, all this audience, okay, I'll tell you how I do it generally, okay? When I do a session, I'll tell you how I do it. Suppose I have a program for parents called Magical Parenting. One of my biggest hit programs is Magical Parenting. Then I have one more program called Mind Gym. If you want to be a powerful time manager, you should know how to use your time powerfully. And if you want to be action-oriented person, I have a program called Mind Gym, right? So when I do these programs on stage, okay, so this is how I do it. So I say, everyone, all the audience sitting here, we divide them in two groups. There's group A and there's group B. So what we'll do is we go on the stage. Suppose let's say I'm speaking to college students. I say, all the boys sitting here, you group A, and all the girls, you group B here. I say, all the boys put your hands up, and they all do that. And all the girls put your hands up, they do that. And say, now friends, boys and girls, you both have a competition now. The moment I say that, okay, boys and girls have a competition, they're fired up, okay, because they want to prove that they're better than the other, right? So, and they say, now when I say yes, boys will not speak and girls, you're supposed to shout. Now, what do you shout? You have to shout, we want success. Okay, now the competition is, I'll tell them that the competition is, I want to see which group shouts loud. Okay, and they really get fired up. Okay, so, and they say, okay, girls start, and they'll say, we want success, and they'll say, boys, and the roof goes off. Okay, they say, we want success, and they say, everybody shout together, and they all will do together, and I make them clap for the energy levels, and then we start. What happens here is I involve them, right? So let's say if some boy is talking to somebody else, or if he's looking at a girl, or he's busy on the smartphone, when everybody's shouting, it's like even he comes back, isn't it? Did you understand, friends? Type yes. Isn't it? So when you involve your audience, okay, or I'll tell you how one world-class speaker starts it. He says, okay, he says, good morning, and he says, shake your hand with the next person sitting to your left, and shake your hand to the person sitting on the right, and say, you are awesome. Okay, or say, you will learn today how to be a great speaker. Anything, depending on the topic you want to say. Suppose you're going to teach them taxation. Example, today you're going to start a topic called taxation. Okay, you're going to talk to them about taxation. You can say, shake your hand with the person sitting next to your right and say, you will learn great strategies about tax today. Or you can say, today you will learn you will learn one more extra feature about taxation. Anything you can say that's easy to say, right? Or you say today will grow in tax. Anything, any one phrase where they give a shake hand to each other and they say that sentence. And then they come before. See, even the point is when even if I'm not focusing on the speaker, I'm speaking to someone here. If someone comes, grabs my hand and gives a shake hand and says something, you got my attention. Now, so why am I saying this? So I look at the speaker. You involve them so that you grab their attention, right? Insisting response is you're forcing them, Akhil. When you say you're insisting response, you say you're making them shout again and again and again and again and again and again, right? So when you're insisting them, and it's more like you say good morning, good morning, good morning, and you say all that. It's more like you're telling them that you are not attentive. That's why I'm shouting again and again. Agree, friends? Isn't it, Akhil? When someone is saying the same thing again and again, it's more like he's saying that because you're not focusing on me, I had to shout again and again the same thing. Is the kind of feeling we get. But this is involving, is not we making them do things again and again like good morning. It's more like we're involving all the audience in some way or the other so that we can hook them and grab their attention. Right? Good. Thank you, Akhil. So that's the first strategy, friends. Involve. Okay. Or if you have school kids, okay, and this is the best part. School kids, when I go to school kids, they're bubbly with energy levels. I say, all of you stand up once, and they all stand up, okay, and they say, now let's all. I think involving is a two-way, while insisting is one way. Perfectly right, Tushar. Thank you. Yeah. So involving is like they are involving and we're not insisting them. Correct. Nice. Okay. So school kids, they're more with energy levels, so we can make them do some activity to start with, and then we can say, let's all, okay, everybody stand up. Okay. Jump once, give a high five to the next person, and then sit down. Believe me, they love it. They love it to the core. I'm talking about school kids. Okay. They all stand, they jump, they scream, they give a high five, and then they sit down again. And irrespective of in what state of mind they are, irrespective of what they're thinking so far, irrespective of what they're discussing about, all eyes on us. Why? Because you involve them, you grab their attention. And then you'll say, today, let's learn 2 simple strategies how you can overcome anger forever. How many of you want to learn that? How many do you think will put their hands up? Everyone. Agree? So I involved them, grabbed their attention, and then I took them from A to B and asked them, how many of you want to learn that? And some people raised both hands actually. Yeah. So imagine the parenting meeting. I say all the husbands, all the fathers of group A, all the mothers of group A, let's see who shouts loud. Okay. And you must see the way mothers shout, by the way. Okay. And then I ask them, today we're going to learn 3 simple methods how we can make our children not get addicted to gadgets. How many parents want to learn that? Believe me, some parents really raise both their hands. Agree? And making sense to your friends, type yes. So this way, what happens? They don't just get involved. Now, with this method called involve, we grab their attention, we took them from A to B, and they are all ears, and they sit at the edge of the seat and try to listen as to what we have in store for them. So that is starting with a fantastic bang, the heroic introduction, right? So this is one strategy which many top speakers of the world use. So you can do that, involving your audience, nothing like it. So works like magic, okay? Good. Let's go to the second strategy, friends. Exactly. You're right. Yeah. So when you talk about the benefit they get by spending their time with us, you're taking them from A to B, isn't it? So, but before we say A to B, we have to grab their attention first. So involve them, grab their attention, then speak about A to B. It makes a lot of sense to them. Correct, sir. Good. So let's go to the second great way of starting, and that is, please make note of it, need or problem. Make note of it. Second great way you can grab the attention of audience is by talking about the need or problem. Let's say, for example, November exams are approaching for CS students. So I'm sure some of the students are a little worried or tensed out. Okay, example. Okay, let's say generally the mood is the exam fear around because of the exams in the next 30 days. So you go on the stage and say, my dear friends, do you want to know one simple technique, how to overcome your exam stress. How many of you want that? So starting with a need or a problem that they have, that they badly wanted to be addressed by someone, and you start with that and you grab their attention. You got them. You talk about the need, a need that they have, or you talk about the problem that they're facing and they're desperately wanting a solution for it. Like the example talking about talking to the parents about the gadgets, overcoming the gadgets for students is another great way of example of need or problem. Agree? So you can involve them, you can talk about need or problem, or you can straight talk about need or problem. Okay. Actually, you could use a combination of 1 and 2 also. Nothing wrong with that. You can involve and then talk about need or problem, or even if you don't involve them, if you go straight and the first thing you say is, if this is what you have a problem, I'm here to show you a solution for it. People desperately looking for such things. Agree, friends? Yes or no? If you are a businessman, and if I come on the stage and say, today I'll teach you how to double your business and triple your profits by just spending half the time. There are 3 ways to do that. How many of you want to learn that? How many do you think will agree, friends? How many will think we want to really learn that? If you are a professional, and if I show you today, we're going to talk about how you can reduce your working hours, you can spend more time with family, enjoy life, do what you love to do, and still make more money than what you're making today. There are strategies to do that, and we'll discuss about it today. Do you think you'll be interested to learn about it? Yes or no, friends? See, when you talk about a need about a person, yeah, when you talk about a need that they want or a problem that they have, and if you're there to address it, friends, please understand the top speakers are solution-oriented speakers. I want you to be one like that. Why would someone spend their time and listen to you? You know, today in the world out there, time has become a rare commodity to buy from. In the sense, in a lot of families, do you agree, friends? Parents don't have time to listen to children. A husband doesn't have time to spend with his wife. Agree, yes or no? We are living in a world where we don't have time for our own family members, right? In such busy schedules we all live in, why should someone sit and spend 1 hour or 2 hours or 3 hours just watching you? And why should he give that kind of time? Why would anyone do that? Unless he feels that you're worth spending time with. And that worth spending time with feeling comes when you address any need he has or any problem you can solve for him. Yes or no, my dear friends? And if you can mention that at the beginning of the session, wow, you got them. Right? So that's why, my friends, the second best way to start a session is by starting with a need or a problem they have, and then you start about it and then tell them that you're going to give them solutions today. It's like, wow, man, I'm looking for this, is what they feel. So the best way you can do this, friends, if you want to start with the second strategy, you know, a little homework will always help. You know, if you know your audience, that's why the 4 prerequisites we talked about audience. Remember, TALK is audience. If you know your audience, for example, let's say you have equal audience or above audience, whoever it is. Let's say you're talking to above audience. Okay. If you can do a little homework and find out the common problems they have, if you can do a little homework and find out the common needs they have, and if you can find out at least 1 or 2 solutions for that problem, you are a sure hit on the stage. People will, trust me, will come and hug you virtually. Yeah. So that's why the second step can be by talking about a need or a problem. You can grab their attention, take them from A to B, and carry on to core. So out of 12, we learned 2 today. 1, involve them. 2, start with the need or the problem, and you get them. Yes, can we use this method when a different topic is allotted? Absolutely, yes. You can use it for any topic you have. You just have to just think a little creative as to how you can use it for that topic. That's it. And by the way, Ankur, I'm going to give you 12 methods, by the way, right? So if you find difficult to use one strategy for your topic, you have 12 options before you. You can handpick any one of them. So let's finish all the 12. You can definitely, I'm sure, you know, the best part, friends, you take any topic out of this 12, at least 3 can be used. I repeat, if not all, for any topic under the sun, you can use out of these 12, you can use any 3 for sure. Any 3 can definitely be used. So that's the best part. We would like to learn time management. Please let us know if planning a session. Right now, Kishan, we have no plans. I will speak to your Vijayawada branch. Let's see if we can think of one in the future. Right. Thank you for your interest anyways. Friends, we are going to give a comma here today. We're going to stop it here. The last 5 minutes, any questions you have, it's time for Q&A session. Any questions about today's session you learned so far, you can shoot. Next week, we'll come back and we'll learn the remaining 10 great ways of starting. Out of 12, we're done with 2 today. So let's do a quick recap before we end. Today, we talked about 4 phases. The King phase, ICE, introduction, core, ending. Remember? 4 phases to master public speaking. How to start the King phase, even before you start phase, by 4 simple rules. Walk to the middle of the stage, stand like and feel like a king or a queen. Then you take a pause. During the pause, smile, and while smiling, scan and look at people. And that way you look confident and audience will like you because they do something called a snap judgment. We don't want to go wrong there. So once that phase is done, then we'll go to introduction phase. In the introduction phase, what we'll do is we got to first understand what our objectives are. Our objectives is we want to create a heroic introduction, a fantastic bang by making sure you grab their attention, and also we got to take them from A to B. So we discussed about 7 things we need to avoid. MISTAKE, 7 things, remember mistake. So we got to avoid those 7 things. And then we understood there are 12 ways of doing it. We understood the first one is involving, second one is talking about the need or the problem of the people. If audience look at you as a solution provider, you got them. Clear? Okay, so task for the week, friends. Task for the week, I want all of you to sincerely practice the King phase. As I told you, have some soft toys, and then go to the room and introduce yourself as a host, then come in, then come like a king, then take a pause, smile, scan at the soft toys. That's one you can do. Also, you can take a video and send it to me, your practice session. And secondly, what you can also do is take any topic you want to talk on, okay? Or let's talk about this topic itself. The topic is how to overcome stress. And I want you to really think of ways how you can use the involved strategy or how you can use the need or problem strategy. Please write down. And remember, when you write introduction, please let the introduction not be more than 4 to 5 lines. I repeat, when you use any of these strategies and write your introduction, don't write it more than 4 to 5 lines. Okay, so please write your introduction using either involved strategy. How will you do it? If you're going on the stage today, how will you involve them? Your own ideas, write it in 4 to 5 lines and send it to me on WhatsApp. Or if you want to use a need or problem strategy, how do you do it? Write 4 to 5 lines and send it. If you're curious, you can do both the ways actually. Okay? If you're creative enough, you can use both strategies and send me both introductions. If a person of a timid heart, can he be a public speaker? Absolutely yes. Doesn't matter, my friend. My dear Ganesh, even if you have the weakest heart possible, you can be a great public speaker. Believe me, all world-class speakers have one thing in common. They all started with shaking legs and butterflies in the stomach. I repeat, all world-class speakers today, they all started the same way. We all started with shaking legs and butterflies in the stomach. So it doesn't matter how timid you feel today. If you follow the strategies and do the practice required, you will be surprised to see yourself on the stage. Yeah. So friends, that finishes our today's session. Hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, type capital yes in the chat box, please. Fantastic. Friends, it's a pleasure and a privilege spending this Sunday afternoon with you all. See you again next Sunday. And those of you who haven't sent me version 1.0, I request you with respect, please do so today or tomorrow. Send me the version 1.0, my friends, and also do the homeworks I gave you today. See you next Sunday at sharp 11. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for the excellent session once more. Friends, as you all know that greatest speakers are always like that only. And Friends, the very objective of this course, because I heard the questions that are posed to sir, that we are mainly into the, rather than giving fish, would like to teach fishing. See, once you know the fishing, you can do anything. See, it is not the 12 methods that are said by the sir is going to be useful. You can devise 100 methods out of these 12 methods, making use of these basic things. So kindly follow the basic, that is funda. That is very, very important. And see that the things will be delivered in a much, much smoother way. So we are just here to try to teach the fishing, and you just learn the same. And of course, the other things also follows. See, somebody asked about the time management, all these things. Okay, definitely they will come in order. First, the real time management is because you are here to learn the public speaking. You first you understand the public speaking, make use of this time very effective, and then we'll look into that other factors at a later point of time. Thank you very much. I'll be signing off for this today, and from next Sunday we'll meet you for the public speaking, and next Saturday will be the Excel shop. Okay, thank you very much.
All the best, friends. Good day.
Good
Bye,
day,
sir.
everyone.
Thank you, sir.